Well, they closed down the mill and they closed down the mine. They said you can't work but pay your taxes on time. Got 3 little babies gonna starve to death or freeze. We started making white lightning, it was Grandpa's recipe. Run, rebel, run to nowhere. Run, rebel, run to the Scott County Jail.
Hey everyone. Hey Christy. We are back here with the Jailhouse Informant podcast, and we're locked in for the next little bit, talking about some of the cool things that we've been doing and got going on, and just really busy here at the jail and at Rugby.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for everybody for joining us tonight. We got little Sally here. She's our little feline celebrity lately. So, but thank you everybody for joining us. As Miranda said, it's been pretty busy. A lot of people who follow us and follow what we're doing understand that it's just the two of us. We're everything from the janitors to the CEOs to Sally's, caretakers and all of that. So we are pulled in several different directions. Sometimes, that means we have to do some finagling at some of our locations here at the jail and at Rugby. So thank you all for kind of hanging with us as we kind of, try to get a schedule for the summer, especially with our Jailhouse Informant.
Yeah. And that's, in the past, we've not really been able to, we've kind of put the informant on pause for during the summer months, but we're really trying to keep that going. It may not be consistent every week, which hopefully at some point we'll get back to that. But at least, it's a great opportunity to be able to come on, share what we've got going on, be able to chat with you all, and, just let you know kind of what's going on. It's just a different way to be able to do that.
Absolutely. But we've the last weekend was a lot of fun. I know you did a lot of traveling. So
Yes.
How was that?
So that was a lot of fun. I got to travel to Wisconsin, which it was my first time being there in the area, and got to go there, was talking about ghost biker explorations, as well as the historic Scott County Jail and historic Rugby After Dark. I think that's probably one of my favorite things about doing these events are all the new and different people that we get to meet and get to introduce to what we're doing here at the jail and at Rugby, and met a lot of new connections. Did my first Bigfoot hike there in the forests of Wisconsin. That was a lot of fun.
How was that? I mean, what's the difference between Bigfoot and paranormal investigations?
Quite a bit. I've had a lot of different Bigfoot researchers and stuff on my program there, the Ghost Biker Garage, and a lot of them, some of the things that they've put out there, they seem to a lot of people seem to believe that the paranormal and Bigfoot and the UFOs and such are related. And so I went on this hike with Barnaby Jones, who's there with Wisconsin Caps, and he does paranormal and Bigfoot, and got to go through there. I took a few paranormal tools to see if maybe we could correlate some of if we did have any experiences, see if we could connect that with some of the paranormal. But probably one of my favorite parts about it was we saw something really interesting in the sky. And there was 3 of us groups there together, and we met at one point, and then we separated, and we were about 3 miles apart between all of our groups. So you couldn't hear, you couldn't see. We tried to eliminate any type of contact. And all three of our groups saw this weird light in the sky. And I pulled up flight radar to see if there was any type of air traffic or anything when we saw this. There was nothing. There was nothing nearby. The craft or light in the sky made no sound. I don't know how I feel about Bigfoot and UFOs and such. I definitely believe in the paranormal, but it was definitely a fun experience to do and learn more about it from someone that does this on a regular basis, and just experience the country over there in a totally different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jenny and I did a investigation up there in Milwaukee at the Shakers bar up there a couple years ago, and it's when you go out to the wilderness out there, you can see how Bigfoot could be out there. I mean, if you're from the city, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, you might think, oh, but when you get out there, there's a lot of space that a Bigfoot could hide, or a family of Bigfoot. You just never know. It is kind of interesting.
And there's always that theory. People say that once you've seen or experienced one once they've allowed you to experience them, that you're more likely to experience them on a regular basis, which, like I said, there's a lot of theories out there. I think that's possible because, I've never seen or experienced one, and seems like the people who have seem to do it on a regular basis. So maybe there's something to that. But I'm with you, especially when here in the Appalachians, when you get into this area and you really go back into the backcountry there, and people, if they have a problem, they have to have helicopters, bring supplies or rescue them. I can see where something would be very elusive and be hard to find going in some of these areas. I mean, makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know. I mean, look at us. Like I said, we're out there looking for the paranormal. So Bigfoot can totally be in that realm. But I'm glad you had a great time. Sound like you did anyway.
It was a great time. Was up there. I did not do the paranormal investigation. They were investigating a really interesting location up there. And it was kind of a whirlwind trip. But one of the things that I was really excited about, I got to stop at the Crown Point Jail whenever I was up there. I didn't get to take a tour of it because they were busy, but we had those ladies on the show. I guess it's been about 2 years, and they gave us a virtual tour while they were there. And honestly, that did not do justice when I saw it, because the town itself was so pretty. I mean, it was only probably maybe 15, 20 minutes outside of Chicago. And this was a real pretty and peaceful, clean looking city. And then whenever I went to the jail, I was really surprised. And this is me personally, I didn't realize it was as large as it is. It was the width of a city block. Wow. And so I didn't expect that from the pictures that I saw, and it was very well kept and maintained. It looks like they've done an amazing job, and I'm hoping that next time I can either do an investigation or be able to at least go in and take a tour. I know you and I kind of talked about maybe doing some type of jailhouse road trip, because there's like 3 that's up there that very excited to hopefully get to tour here soon at some point.
Yeah. The pictures that you sent to me look really cool. And I know a lot of our paranormal investigator friends have investigated there and really love it. And it's one of those locations that it seems to be extremely active. So getting out there and getting a possible investigation in at that location would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm actually forwarding a couple of these pictures to my computer right here, and then that way I can just pull them up. But yeah, that was, and it's taken just a few minutes. Technology, we rely on it so much, but on the other hand,
she starts mouthing off about technology, and then she freezes. There she goes. Maybe don't send them. Yeah,
am I back?
Yeah, don't badmouth technology while you're on it.
Right. Here we go.
Yep.
Here we go. All right. It pulled up. Let's see if this. Yeah. So, like I said, if I forget which episode number this was, but
It does
we
look pretty
definitely,
substantial.
yeah, it was definitely a very substantial building. And like I
Wow.
said, I was just really impressed with how nice and put together it was on here. Let's see here.
That's cool.
Yeah. And of course, that would have been the jailer's house. I tried to snap some
Through the
pictures
window.
through the window. Yeah. And I gotta admit, Sandy was so nice. I reached out to her kind of on short notice the day before when I was passing through there, and she, they were gonna try to meet up with me. I honestly didn't realize I was going to be going through there, so that I was going to be so close. But this was a really fun episode to have on these ladies. Like I said, they did a really good job giving us a tour of it, breaking down the history. And I know it's a very active area. I just wasn't aware of all this of the jail. I knew they had
how big it is. Yeah.
I knew they had to store the inmates somewhere. But I just wasn't aware that it was so large. So
cool.
But
yeah, it would have been nice to have seen inside, but I'm glad you got to stop and see on the outside of it. And then I really think that we can set up an investigation or at least go see it. And then I know that there's one of the there in Crawfordsville and Rockville. There's a couple of different jails that we can check out. So we can just do a whole quick little road trip up there. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think we're talking about having the one in Rockville, the new owners of the Jailhouse Inn and Drunk Tank Bar. We had them on, and that place just looks absolutely
that looks really
beautiful.
Cool. That's an Airbnb.
Yeah, it is, and so it was a little bit out of the way, but we're talking to the new owners there, and hopefully they're going to come on, share a little bit about what they've changed with the location, and just again, I can't wait to get up there and maybe spend the night up there, do an investigation, and just make it's only like 6.5 hours from here,
nothing.
Which is not bad.
No, it's nothing. No. So it looks like Bob and Felicity have both seen some interesting things in Maine. Speaking of Bigfoot, going back to our Bigfoot conversation.
Yeah. We need to maybe have some either Bigfoot researchers or somebody that has experienced some things in our area, because I mean,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, we need to have them on the show. And looks like Bob, saw a flying saucer.
Wow.
Yeah, this was incredibly silent, which I was surprised about. And the weirdest thing, so I was walking with this lady from Michigan, and as we were talking and looking, we first saw it, and we were the ones that drew attention to it to the rest of the group. And we were sitting there looking online. Well, after I saw there was nothing online, or no crafts in the sky, we just stood there and talked about it and watched it. There was nothing, to me, it didn't even dawn on me to snap a picture or anything. I don't know if there was something distracting me or what. She didn't take one either. We were just like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And we just stood there staring at it.
Wow.
Which is, me.
Disappointing.
Well,
I mean, cool for you. Cool for you having the personal experience, but, sucks for the rest of us who can't get to live it with you.
Well, but me, I'm like
You're
very quick
filming.
to try to take a picture or film or do whatever. But no, I just was just like, oh. So there's got to be something to that.
Maybe that's part of the power that it has over you.
Maybe so. But speaking of that, and tours and walks and such, we've got a full schedule of walks and lantern tours there at Historic Rugby coming up, as well as flashlight tours at the jail. And I know this coming Sunday, we've got a tour going on there at the North Village and Cemetery, and we still have some tickets available for that. So I know that one doesn't always run as often as your downtown tour. And so we like to, since it's a little bit longer, a little bit out there, we always like to try to fill up as many spots on that one as possible when we have one of those run-ins. So I think we've got 6 tickets still left for that tour.
Yeah,
so
for that one.
If anyone is interested in that, go on to either the Historic Rugby After Dark Facebook page. That's got a link, or you can go to historyhighwayshaunts.com and book that tour. The weather's supposed to be kind of nice for that this Sunday. It's supposed to be kind of iffy the rest of the weekend, but I know that is supposed to be really nice.
Yeah. So Sunday looks pretty good. But speaking of the rest of the weekend, we do have a couple of things coming on Saturday. So we will be set up at the Mountain Laurel Festival, which is in Wartburg, Tennessee, about 45 minutes from here. This is going to be a really cool event. It's the 10th annual Tennessee Mountain Laurel Festival. And they're going to have a ton of vendors. They're going to have food, music, silent auctions, hiking, photo contests, and all of that. It's supposed to rain pretty good Friday night and into early Saturday morning. Hopefully by the time this starts, the rain will be shoved off. So if you're in the area, it's a great drive from Oak Ridge. It's a great drive from Scott County, Morgan County, Fentress County. Come and see us at the Mountain Laurel Festival. We'll have some of the jail stuff, some of the rugby merchandise as well. And we'll be selling tickets to all of our After Dark tours, have more information about all of those things as well. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. And that's on this coming Saturday, day after tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's there in the courthouse square, which that area, I think the courthouse down in Wartburg is just so neat looking.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And you can go in there. Our friends that run the Genealogical Society, the little museum that's there in Wartburg, Jill and Barbara, they said they're going to be open that day. And so you can go in. It's free to tour. And I don't know if they've started their new exhibit. I feel like they posted their new exhibit that's starting, and that's just a fun little museum that you can go in whenever.
Used to be an old bank. Yeah. So that's a cool little museum right across from the courthouse. But, we're really excited to be set up there. This is the first year that we've set up there. So hopefully we'll get a lot of exposure. And then we've got what we got going on at the jail.
Yeah. So it's busy weekend. So if you've been watching our show, you've heard us talk a little bit about this. On this coming Saturday, we're going to be having a Meet the Author, a book signing and meet and greet of Eric Freeman Sims. His book, his book, The Small Town Haunts and Legends of Tennessee, is going to be, he's going to be sitting here talking about that, as well as he's going to have copies, hardback and paperback, available for sale. He's going to be here from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. He'll either be, I think we're trying to decide, depending on what the weather and stuff. I know we've talked about having him set out on the porch there at the jail. If the weather is either too hot or if it's kind of iffy, we may have him set up at the bank building.
Yep.
But we hope that you'll come by, purchase a book, talk to Eric, because he has some amazing stories, not just from his book, but he's a podcast host as well. And he's talked to some great researchers, storytellers, authors, and other folks from around the country. And
he owns the Night House there.
That's right.
So he's a paranormal investigator, has a lot of different stories just related to his location as well. So I think it'll be a really fun day.
Yeah. And so come by and do that and take a tour of the jail while you're here. And we're featured in it. So what better place for him to set up is that they're at the jail. We're featured in it with that, as well as historic rugby.
Yep. So that's this weekend. Going to have a lot of fun things going on. Again, being in a lot of places at once. And then next Thursday, we will not have a Jailhouse Informant next Thursday, because we will be speaking at the Fentress County Historical Society, and we will be talking about historic rugby after dark and the historic Scott County Jail, talking about how we started our business, and how we have daytime tours, nighttime tours, and all things in between. So no Jailhouse Informant next week because we will be there. But, maybe we'll pop on live from there just for a few minutes just to say hey to everybody. We'll kind of make that a game time decision, but could be something that we could do.
Yeah, because this is will probably be ending right about then because they're an hour behind us. So
Yes.
so this will be starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Central. And the cool thing about the courthouse there is it's made out of the same sandstone as our jail. And so and if you've never been there to Jamestown, where the Fentress County Historical Society is, you're in for a treat because almost the entire town or most of the buildings in there are made up of that same sandstone. And so so that's, I mean, it's just a really historic and interesting place to visit. It's right across the street from their old jail, which houses the Chamber of Commerce. So yeah, it'd be kind of cool if we may not be able to do it right at 7, but we could definitely pop on live there in the downtown area and kind of give a little look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be a lot of fun. So we'll probably do that instead next week.
Yeah, we had Jacob and Seth on our show a few years ago.
A while ago, yeah.
And yeah, I guess it's been almost 3 years. And they were talking about the history and stuff. So so yeah, it'd be cool to do a live from there.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun. What else? What was next on our list?
Let's see here. So while I was in Wisconsin, we actually had to close the jail down on Saturday because you were pulling double duty, day and evening shift there. We had an investigation on Saturday night. Let's talk a little bit about where you were on Saturday.
Yeah, so Saturday, Rugby had their British Fest, which was a lot of fun. They hold it every year. It's a 2-day event, really because, Rugby was started as a British colony. And so they want to celebrate essentially their British heritage. So they have the maypole out. They had horse and carriages riding throughout the village. They had classic cars driving through the villages. They had a lot of vendors set up. So it was a really good time. The weather was fantastic and got to meet a lot of cool people. Really was able to give some more information about our historic Rugby After Dark tours. And so that was it was a really good time. A lot of people came out, got to see the history of Rugby and really get to experience, kind of some of the stuff that we experienced while we're there. Just the great people that run Rugby, the real family atmosphere that's there. Oh goodness. Yeah, there it is. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah, I had some great people there too.
Well, and it's so immersive. And I think that's what I really like about Rugby itself is just when you go there, it's such an immersive experience, especially on these festivals, because you have people that are dressing in the old British attire and from the late 1800s. And then also carrying on that tradition with the maypole and the food. I mean, they've even got British inspired food there at the food truck. I mean, it's such a great experience. And I love that partnership that we have with them. Getting that word out. If you all watched our last show that we live, it was week before last, we talked a little bit about haunted discoveries that had filmed there at Rugby. I hope you've checked those investigations out. You can watch them if you go to YouTube and type in Haunt TV. They're listed on there. I think they were very, very well received, both episodes, and those guys did an amazing job, and just the activity that they captured was very cool.
I agree, and they really did a great job highlighting the history, and what was really neat about both the episodes is they were validating the stuff that we told them. We had personal experiences there. The docents have personal experiences from Rugby, and it was great that they were able to take those stories and actually validate them in their 3-night investigation of Rugby. So, like Miranda said, if you haven't checked it out, go to Haunted Discoveries and watch the 2 episodes related to Rugby. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think they're actually finishing up their season 4 right now. Maybe only have a couple episodes left. So, So yeah, definitely go watch some of their past episodes and catch up on the ones with rugby if you've not seen those. Just looking to make sure there's nothing else that I'm forgetting. I know in talking to Eric, hopefully we will be selling some of those books of his in the gift shop. We will have those available if you're not able to make it out on Saturday. We're definitely hoping to be able to add those to our gift shop as well. We have merchandise that should be coming soon. I know we've had a lot of different events lately, getting low on some of our stock there on some of our shirts, but we've got an order placed and hopefully that will be getting in here very soon. And then we'll be announcing the motorcycle ride that we will have the first weekend in June that will go in partnership with RM Brooks General Store. We've had a lot of folks that follow the page that have joined that in the past. And so that's going to be on June 7th. Just trying to decide on the starting spot. I may go with what we've done last time there, doing Harriman. That's always been a good spot. That's a great route, but still trying to figure out exactly which route to take.
Yeah. So I think that'll be a lot of fun, and you'll definitely keep everybody posted on what that's going to look like coming up very soon.
Yeah, most people don't book that until last minute because we're kind of unsure on the weather, but we do have a rain out date, and that's going to be at the end of June. I think it's the 28th. I need to see if that's the Saturday, 28th or 29th, whatever that Saturday is. So if it's a rain out from the June 7th, we will be doing the ride then, as well as the RM Brooks Biker Appreciation Day. So did Sally sneeze?
No, that was me. Sorry. There's so much Sally hair around here. I feel like I'm about ready to sneeze. So she ran across the keyboard behind my laptop and hair went everywhere. So that's floating around.
What a dainty little sneeze.
But yeah, so yeah, just keep a watch out on that. We'll definitely post it. And then I think that's pretty much sums up a lot of the stuff we had going on and what we've got coming up.
Yeah, and just gearing up for the summer. I know we've got some bookings that are taking place, or I mean that are already booked for July or June and July, but we've still got a lot of dates open there. We are working on getting, again, a lot of people don't know that rugby is so close to the jail. And so we are getting ready to introduce a special for the summer months, to where if you want to come and make a weekend of it, then you'll get extra time if you book an investigation at the jail and at rugby. And those have to be a weekend that's together. Like you can't book, today, next weekend at the jail and 3 weekends away at rugby. It's got to be 2 nights together. Yeah. And you'll get extra hours.
Yeah, and it's doable. Like Miranda said, it's only 15 minutes apart. So, it's it'd be great for larger teams, especially if you have 14, 15 people on your team. You can do the jail and rugby on Friday, then you switch those teams, the jail and rugby on Saturday. Or if you just want to come a small group, do the jail, do rugby. It's going to be a good deal. So just keep a watch out for that.
Yeah. With what we've got planned, you'll be able to get 2 extra hours at each location. So that adds up pretty quick. When you think about it, that's almost when you add that time up, it's almost a full investigation.
Yep.
So, but we've got that coming up, and I believe that's all I've got right there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I have been working on the next Soul Sisters Paranormal videos, so if you're interested in that, I will be dropping the next one on Tuesday. That's our investigation from Hillview Manor up in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. So if you're interested, we will have a premiere on YouTube, but I will put all that information out if you'd like to go watch our newest video.
Yeah, and we did play the trailer on
Mhm.
the last episode here. So if you missed that, go back and watch our last episode, and you can watch that trailer, or you can visit Soul Sisters Paranormal there on Facebook or YouTube, and watch that trailer straight up on their page.
Yep.
And then just if you're looking to come out to do a daytime tour, or a guided daytime tour, or a self-guided daytime tour, we're open 5 days a week. We're only closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And if you have a larger group, we're happy to accommodate you. I know that people are getting ready to start traveling for vacation, and getting ready to travel with some different groups. So if you have a larger group and you have any questions, or if you need a special time or something of that nature, just reach out to us at the information scrolling on the bottom of the screen there, and we'd definitely be happy to accommodate the larger groups.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's pretty much it for tonight, guys. We didn't really have a whole lot, unless anybody wants to throw out a discussion topic. We just didn't really have a whole lot to talk about. We're talking to a couple of jails over in England. Hopefully we'll be able to get those on. As Miranda said, we're talking to a couple of old jail owners in Indiana as well. So we'll be getting back into the Jailhouse series and pepper that in with some of the stuff that we're doing. Like I said, next week we'll probably go live from the Fentress County Historical Society. And then after that, hopefully we'll get back into getting something regular here on the Jailhouse Informant.
Yeah. I guess we'll just have to see. We want to keep those bookings coming in and stay busy. So it's kind of, do you want to be busy and not have time to be able to do stuff, or, it's kind of a trade-off. So it's good to be busy, but I definitely enjoy being able to sit here and talk and do that. I know we had kind of talked about some different topics. You and I, we were kind of kicking something around. I'm always sort of interested to see what other people think about it. We've had a lot of teams that have come to the jail and investigated, and I know both you and I talked to the teams after the investigations are over with, to see if they can tell us about different things they've experienced. And I've talked to a couple other location owners, and I know you have as well, and they've sort of had similar discussions. I'm kind of interested to see what the audience, and we can do a whole topic and discussion on this. But it's always fascinating to me whenever you talk to the teams, and if it's been a quieter night, you get the response where they're like, oh, well, we didn't really have a whole lot happen. And then as you continue to talk to them, they're like, but we saw a shadow figure. We heard this disembodied voice. We heard these footsteps. To me, that sounds like a lot happened, but why do you think that is? Do you think that we're experiencing some kind of phenomenon now that either the activity has increased and we're just a little desensitized unless something crazy is happening? Or do you think it's the YouTube people on YouTube, or some of these other channels that's putting stuff out that's maybe sensationalized? What's your thoughts on that response that we get?
Well, I do think the expectation has risen, that these teams are kind of expecting some things to really, flash bang wow at these locations. This will be a topic that we'll cover once we get some more location owner on. Maybe we can do a round table about this, or at least invite them to be in the chat room so we can discuss this further in the future. But, I think there's just a lot of expectations from locations now. The more they see of episodes of YouTubers or TikTokers or something like that, the more they want. And, where you and I, you capture one EVP or one light anomaly that you can't explain. I mean, that's pretty spectacular. But I think they want something to happen every minute of the day that they're investigating, and it's not realistic. So it's going to be interesting to talk about this further once we get some different location owners on.
I know that's a topic that I'm going to have on my show at some point, with some different owners, and maybe we can either get them in the audience there, or or even get a couple to come on. I just wondered if our expectations, if that's what it is, if it's the expectations or if it's just, the activity itself.
No, I don't think the activity is lessened at all. I just think that, there's certain instances where it's not going to be, a team isn't going to go into the jail and get a shadow figure, a light anomaly, a disembodied voice, the tripwire going off, the REM pod going off. It's just, those are very rare instances when all of those things happen in conjunction with each other. But if you are in there and you get, like I said, a couple of EVPs or something like that, that's a really good night in my book.
Mhm.
But I just think
No, and I don't
expectations are
mean
rising.
lessened. I don't mean activities lessened, activities increased. That it's, with more people coming into the locations, it's increased. And so whenever they don't get that crazy, just, pictures flying off the wall, shadows manifesting in front of you, if even though the activity people may be experiencing more, could it be because they're experiencing more that may be what they're experiencing, if it's not as dramatic, if that's something that could change the expectations, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you and I both know that there's a lot of things that you don't see or hear that you capture on stationary stuff. I mean, when I released Hillview Manor, there was only really one thing that we saw while we were there, but we were able to capture a lot of disembodied voices on our stationary or our stationary equipment. So I just don't think a lot of people invest in the time to go through that, and they want it to happen instantaneously. But again, this is going to be a topic that we'll talk about further, and I think it's going to be a fun topic once we get some people on here.
Yeah, I think so too. I just wanted to bring that up since that was something we had talked about, and going to talk about further as a topic.
Yeah.
So, but if there's nothing else, then, I think we're going to go ahead and call this episode done. Like I said, we wanted to just kind of pop on, talk a little bit about what we've had going on, and not really do not a full episode, but we do appreciate everyone that has tuned in, that's commented here, questions and such. Maybe we'll also line up a live investigation here sometime in the next little bit of the jail of Rugby, especially with the summer kicking off.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun, and I think it's something that everybody in the comment section would really enjoy. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Just throwing a lot of different little things at you this week, but we will be back with some topics and some guests here very soon. But thank you for your patience on our Jailhouse Informant podcast, and thank you for everybody who's watched and commented.
Yeah, thank you guys. And I will be live at 9. Bob just kind of mentioned that. I look forward to seeing you there. I will be going on talking about this past weekend, talk about some of the different events that I've been a part of, the Thomas House the week before, and St. Albans the one before that. So it'll probably be a shorter episode as well, because we're kind of gearing up and trying to get some live investigations and that sort of thing scheduled in the next couple weeks. So until then, I hope everyone comes out and sees us on Saturday, either at the Mountain Laurel Festival or at Eric's book signing. If you want to find out more about Eric, we did have him on the show back in February when he released his book. I think it was like February 3rd or 4th, whatever that Thursday was. It was a great episode. He broke down some of the things that's in his book and some things with the Night House as well as his podcast. So go check it out, and then come see us from 11 to 3 there on Saturday.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We hope you have a fantastic evening. If you're anywhere in the severe weather area, please stay safe tomorrow and Saturday morning.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Mm-hmm.